Are you ready to push your limits, to shatter expectations and redefine what is possible? Welcome to the Victory Multisport Podcast, the show that fuels your passion and ignites your drive. Whether you're a seasoned triathlete, a weekend warrior, or a beginner dreaming of crossing that finish line, we're here to equip you with the knowledge, inspiration, and community that you need to achieve your endurance goals. We'll celebrate individual wins and great accomplishments, no matter the size, speed, or publicity. Get ready to be inspired by stories of incredible athletes, learn from expert coaches, and discover the mindset that transforms ordinary individuals into being uncommon. This isn't just a podcast. It's your training partner, your cheerleader, and your coach to ultimate victory. So lace up, clip in, and dive right in. It's time to unleash your potential. It's time for the Victory Multisport Podcast. Well, we're going to get going today. Thanks for coming on the show and coming on the podcast. Angie Raimondi, how are you today?
Oh, doing really, really well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, doing great. Victory athlete, right? Ultraman, finisher, Ironman, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of other things. I'm also joined by my co-star, Coach Kenny.
Good morning, everyone.
Kenny in the house.
Coach Kenny swam like 8,000 miles between the last 2 days, and I don't know what you did. You had some kind of smoking workout yesterday.
Oh, it was blistering. Yeah, it was. It's actually really good getting the old tribe back together. So we did a 4,000 set straight, roughly right around a 140 pace.
Is that Jamie and the crew?
No. Jamie and the crew was today.
Okay.
But yesterday was the 4,000, and we mixed in 10 100s, which is a kick at 5,000, and those were all sub 130s. We hit a kick set, another 10 by 50 on 55 seconds. So it was a little delirious getting out of the water. But Jamie was today.
Yeah.
And I caused a little disturbance in the pool. She was on.
No way.
Yes, I did. She was in the middle of a freestyle and turned around on her back. And I saw that she did that. And I'm like, oh, her feet are in striking distance, and they're never in striking distance. So I grabbed both of them, and she started to freeze, and I started to go into their feet. And she drug me in, man. It was great.
She went ahead and pulled you in.
Yeah.
Towed you in.
Yeah, which is good because Jan's back from South Carolina. So she's one of the ones I love swimming with. She was barking at me today. Keep going, Kenny. You're at what 255, 200s. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Good stuff.
Still haven't showered today, but I'm feeling good.
All getting ready for that swim around.
Got the Versace on. It smells nice.
Hey, she did say that. Versace blue for those listeners.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, Sarge, something smells really good in the clubhouse. No.
It's not the clubhouse.
It's the Versace.
Coach Kenny.
It's the Versace.
The unshowered Coach Kenny with the Versace.
You know what? That heals everything. The chlorine kills everything. Chlorine. You can't, it's undefeated. But yeah, we're getting ready. So it's me and Tugboat here, Ben Hawley out in Kentucky. We're all getting ready for South Carolina 12 and a half. So
yeah. Swim around Charleston. October. So outstanding. So it's pretty cool to see another journey of yours, and I'll be there with you kayaking and navigating. I don't think we have to worry about sharks into that river as much as we did down in Florida.
Yeah, so I love this guy so much. Buzz today, he's getting dressed, and he goes, "Do you swim?" I said, "I did swim." He goes, "What's your next endeavor?" I said, "I'm going to swim 12 and a half miles through Charleston, South Carolina." He goes, I think are there sharks there? And I go, I don't know. And he goes, yeah, that's like the last thing you probably want to think about when you get in the swim. I go, yeah. And it's hard when people bring it up to me every time.
Sharks, gators.
Yeah. Yeah. But Say's like, I think there's gators in the water. I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Well, I walked out. My last line to Buzz was, I'm like, I mean, it would be a cool story if I did get hammered by a shark in South Carolina. Like, what are you going to do?
Nothing. That's what we're there for. We're going to beat them off with the paddle. I
told him, I said, I got a really good crew that can fight that stuff off.
That's right.
I'll worry about 12 and a half miles.
We circled you down in Florida. You yelled something, and we were like, uh-oh, here we go. So
yeah,
we got it.
There was something
we took care of you. We took care of you. So that's what you got coming up, Kenny. So that's outstanding. I'm glad you're still here and awake and drinking your nutrition to keep yourself hydrated.
Yeah, I didn't know they had noon tabs, but we were going to put them in the water.
You've been chewing the noon tabs.
I've been actually
raw
drinking I've been raw dogging the liquid IV, dumping the whole pouch in my mouth and like trying to swallow it, coughing powder out.
Dry scooping.
All right.
Ange, how about you? You ever dry scooped?
I can honestly say I've never dry scooped.
No, she totally has.
Yeah.
No.
Then you cough and it comes out your nose. It's awesome.
Ugh.
Can you get a video this week of dry scooping something and send it to me?
Yeah, I will.
I know she will.
Yeah, okay. She's signed up for everything.
Dude, every time I turn around on Instagram, I'm either getting nominated, tagged for Long John Silver's. Every time.
We will be sponsored by the end of the year.
That's right.
She keeps saying, she's like, I feel like I'm getting close to it, but then you take 4 steps back by your comments back on my, like, what was it?
Well, you're like, I really love it. I'm fueled by it. I just did a 10-mile swim. I didn't have the runs, and I don't have bubble gut. I'm like,
had to
okay,
add
2
that
steps
part.
forwards, 3 steps back there.
Well, she's like, I want to run the Pittsburgh Marathon in the Long John Silver's race trucker hat. And she tagged me on it. And then I replied back, hashtag gastric distress, I think.
Hashtag gallbladder.
Yeah, she did say one time, she's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Long John's. My mom and I went there one time when we were little. The next day, my mom had gallbladder surgery.
Jeez.
She had to remove it, but
The hush
I still
puppies.
like it. It's still fairly good.
It is.
Yeah.
Nobody understands the craze for it.
Well, I know you guys are making a thing out of it, so it's going to be awesome.
It is
And
a
we've,
thing.
We've
It's a
done this.
vibe.
We've done this before, and she's gotten sponsored by several different organizations.
Okay.
I had
We won't mention them on this cast, but
They didn't pay for the shout out.
Well,
Like Long John's.
No, Sarge got a package sent to his house for gout. I signed him up for a gout awareness contest, and he got cherry juice, all kind of pills.
And every time I go to Moe's, I get even more because every time he goes to Moe's, he signs me up for their loyalty program.
Amazing.
That's it. I'm trying to take care of my friends.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Right.
So really, the podcast is not about Kenny and his antics. Now I think he's getting you involved, and
She's
you
worse than me.
You seem quite willing to be involved in those antics.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
but it is
If you're
more-
not having fun, you're not doing it right.
That's right. So it is more about what you've accomplished in your life to this point and where you're headed, Ange.
Yeah.
So if you would help the listeners with, have you always been an athlete? How did you get started? Were you athletic in high school?
Yeah,
forth,
so I
growing
actually
up?
I started swimming, and I think I've been an athlete pretty much since being a kid, but started competitive swimming in 2nd grade. I was 8 years old. Joined our local Hampton Dolphins club team and basically swam through high school
Nice.
competitively. In my high school, I joined the rowing team, running, track, all that kind of stuff. And then college kind of fell out of it.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Penn State.
PSU?
Yeah. Yep. It was a marching band. I decided to do that instead of athletics, but got back into it. Well, not back into it, but got into triathlon after that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were a marching band. And I'll say, for everybody out there, what I've seen just from being on college campuses with my kids and everything, those kids, man, they work them. They are on that asphalt practicing, hot uniforms.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter.
Carrying that
Yeah.
big
So Penn State is probably one of the premier marching bands, I think, in not just the Big Ten, but I think in all of college athletics. High stepping, so your feet are going up.
Oh, yeah.
I played the tuba, so it was about a 40-pound
Ooh,
instrument.
you're
So
big time.
carrying that around
she
a couple
got pipes,
miles.
man.
Yeah. So when we even equate that, I would equate that to a sense of discipline that you have to have
Oh, yeah.
to be able to do those moves and stay out there and stay at attention and be precision about where you're going to be on the field and,
Yeah.
and all of that type of stuff. And you're playing a
And you're
song
playing
the whole
and
time. So
memorizing music and all that good stuff.
So you didn't
it's
just
pretty
pick
cool.
that up in college, right? Like you
No,
played that
I-
instrument all your life?
Actually, I picked up tuba in high school. I had a friend that played bassoon, and she couldn't do marching band in high school with it. So we spent a summer and taught ourselves. I played saxophone. We taught ourselves how to play the tuba and played it ever since.
Do you still have it?
I never owned one.
You don't have one at your house? Like
No.
if Sarge had one,
I never owned one.
You didn't move to California with the tuba and bring
No.
it back to Pennsylvania or anything
No.
like
like your
that?
mom doesn't have it at her house?
I literally have never owned a tuba. I always just borrowed whatever
Dude,
the
can
school
we-
had.
School.
Can we have her at the team camp and play like the national anthem with the tuba?
I think I could probably follow you around while you're running, like burp, 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 burp.
We need this. I want to see this. That could be like a high rocks, like training. You could carry a tuba and blast it.
Yeah, I mean,
I like that she just casually I was a swimmer, I was an athlete, went to college, and I picked up marching band.
Picked up and carried a tuba the whole time I was there. I
40 pounds, nothing to see here.
think it's
No
probably
big
more
deal.
than 40 pounds, isn't it?
I think the ones that they have are about 40. But like you're marching
Yeah,
every day.
absolutely.
So
it's
did you go to all
basically
the
like
football games too?
all the home games?
Bowl games?
We've been at all the bowl games. Yep.
So what was the highest profile game you got to go to?
We were at the Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
And that parade is 5 miles long, so it's not.
Yeah.
And you're in the sun in Pasadena.
So you had to
Yeah.
walk all 5 miles.
yeah, you're not just walking, you're marching. So
Marching
you're like
and
in
playing
step, yeah,
in the Rose Bowl parade before the
Yeah.
game.
And blasting that instrument for 5 miles.
yeah.
All right, any picks?
I have some somewhere.
Yeah, dig one out, even if it's a paper.
Please.
Go deep
I'll
in the
scan it.
archives. Bring
I'll
back the
scan it.
Facebook account. Yeah.
All right.
Please.
So, swimmer in high school, college, moved into being on the band and doing all those types of events, and then you picked back up later in life?
Yeah. So out of school, I got a job working for Campbell Soup Company. I worked in the food industry. The manufacturing facility was in Sacramento, California. So I moved out there in, I'd say, June 2012. 3 months later, they announced that the plant was shutting down. So I had already moved all my stuff to Sacramento. I was 22 years old, didn't know anyone there, didn't have family out there. I really had never been to California before up to that point, other than the Rose Bowl. And so I kind of at that moment, find a new job or relocate somewhere with Campbell's. I kind of decided, all right, if I stay here in Sacramento, my goal is to do a triathlon. So if those of you that don't know, Sacramento is like the mecca for endurance sports. You're at the foothills of the Sierras, a lot of running, a lot of biking, a lot of mountain biking, Western states, if you know the 100-mile Western states, just a couple miles from Sacramento. So we played in those hills a lot, living there. So I figured this, if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do this, and I've always kind of wanted to do a triathlon, tickled my brain. If I stay here, it's going to happen. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So, got really lucky, got a job at Blue Diamond Almonds. So went from soup to nuts, literally soup to nuts. And,
look at that. It's a good analogy. That's the name of this podcast.
Soup to nuts. Yeah.
Soup to nuts.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So, so got a job with Blue Diamond Almonds right down the street, downtown Sacramento. And they were a huge sponsor of the local Fleet Feet. So Sacramento's Fleet Feet was the original Fleet Feet, and then it turned into a nationwide brand. But they were a huge sponsor of them, and they were giving out free training program certificates through Fleet Feet. Blue Diamond was. And I got my hands on one of those gift certificates, and lo and behold, they had a triathlon training program that was just starting up. So that was kind of the start of my journey. Is I had this idea, and I feel like, and this is a lot of kind of my journey, is once you kind of put it out in the universe responds. And, I stayed in Sacramento, and it rewarded me by, getting me into this sport. So,
yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I mean, just our stories, Kenny and I, Coach Scott, the whole founders of Victory, is we put it out in the universe, and it just starts to happen, right? You start running into people. I mean, now everybody blames the phone listening to your thoughts and comments and showing you more products and things, but it's happened before the phones did that, right? Really did. Now, just with us talking about things, us going to the running store, buying a pair of shoes, all of a sudden somebody says, "Oh, you should do a 70.3." Kenny's like, "Okay," and we just boom, boom, boom. Things just keep happening. So I think that's a pretty poignant note in your
I think the biggest thing is you have to decide. Like once you decide, things kind of fall into place. So
absolutely. But I think also verbalizing it, saying it to somebody else saying it to you, plants the seed, or puts it out there, and then things start to happen.
Was that really intimidating for you though? Because like you picked up, you moved, you got a new job, so you're kind of unknown. You're 22 years old, I think you said. And now you're showing up to train for a triathlon without anybody around you.
Right, exactly. So I like you said, I was starting this new job, so didn't really have friends in my career yet.
Right.
I wasn't yet established enough in the community to really know anyone. And frankly, I didn't have any bike experience, and I hadn't swam in 5 years at that point. And so it was pretty intimidating. I think I waited till literally the night before the first practice to actually sign up for the training group. And in the first practice was a cycling skill. Met at a local bike shop that was like 5 blocks from my apartment at the time, and I literally walked my bike there because I was too afraid to get on the bike and ride on the streets to get there. So I didn't start with a lot of skill set, and I did start by knowing anybody. It was really kind of a leap of faith. And you start feeling like an outsider and have a little bit of imposter syndrome, but you just kind of have to keep chipping away. And
100%.
I'm kind of doing that now, I feel like, again, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But I think that your situation kind of dictated that you needed to do something to really meet people in something that was,
healthy,
respectable, that you wanted to be involved in the community of people around you, whether that was the Fleet Feet folks or the Fleet Feet expanded family of this bike shop and the runners and all of that. You're probably seeing athletes all over town, as you described.
Oh, yeah.
There's people running, there's biking, there's bikes on top of cars and
trails
trucks,
all over the place,
trails everywhere. So, a little FOMO coming into play of, hey, I want to be involved in some of this stuff. So I think that's really good. But it's good advice for the listeners that are out there that are thinking about, should I?
Yeah.
Could I? Would I? And then, yes, that's the answer.
Yeah,
is just show up, right, and just keep showing up. And I think if you show up enough times, this community, our community for sure, the whole endurance sports community is very willing to accept you and bring you in, help you along, give you advice.
We've all been there.
Loan you a bike, loan you a piece of kit, something. Like, there's ways to get things done, and we, we're here for each other. So I think that's a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah, I mean,
that you found when you were only a young person, a really young person, just out of college.
Yeah, and you always suck at something before you're good at it, and I think in this sport, you remember what it's like, or maybe you never stop in your brain sucking. But I think that's what makes the community so strong, is because when you see people that are coming into it and maybe not sure or maybe struggling, you want to kind of relay, what you've been through, and that's a normal part of the process. And it just takes time and dedication to get through it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, that would be even probably a little difficult too, signing up for something like, man, I don't even know what equipment I need. I'm not sure if I have the right bike. Do I have goggles? Do I have my swimsuit?
Yeah.
What? I don't even know what this is going to look like.
Yeah.
So now you're showing up in a whole other state that you were born in, and you have people around you that you don't know. Are they going to be judging me, or like? But you showed up, and I think that's partly, a lot of like when I came out of that shoe store, like I signed up for something, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to go to Top Gear, and I ended up buying a bike, and next thing I know, I don't really know how to do it. I'm like trying to ride my loop, which was a quarter mile, our cul-de-sac, and like everybody is outside watching their kids play. Here's me, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm pretty cool. I'm in Aero right now, and I like unclip to talk to somebody, and I fall off the bike. Yeah, and so that's embarrassing. Showing up at the pool, not sure what do you mean by a pull buoy, and what do you mean by this? But every day that you stop, somebody does pull you in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And hey, come with me, or let me. And they always say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but if you want to know who the Ironman is in the room, just listen to who's talking, because they like to share their stories and most of them are really, really great people that'll drag you in and pull you in. But I think that's, honest to God, very brave of you to be in endurance sports, go to college, move to a whole other state, and get right back in with, I got to find something. When the normal 22-year-old person might be, well, there's a bar right down the road. There's a club right down there. I could go drink there. I could try to find bad friends. You chose a really, really admirable thing to do.
It was really awesome. I those people that I met just that first year have become lifelong friends, and they will follow me through this journey, which is really amazing. But it's a testament to some of the coaching too that I've had. So our coach, and the team was called Gutsy Tri Team. Her name is Jamie Whitmore. She was the winningest female Xterra triathlete at that point in time. So she was a phenomenal athlete. Just years before, she created this triathlon training program, had a carcinoma, lost her hamstring, her glute, had drop foot, lost her, she basically, lost use of her leg. And since then she took that and has become a paracyclist. She's won gold medals in the Olympics. And this is before this was kind of the middle of her journey, was starting this triathlon group. But she had this way of bringing in people that were, maybe misfits, maybe not, didn't know anything about this sport, and bringing us together and really making a really nice community.
Yeah. That's awesome that she was able to do that. And I always, I've seen and met other people in my life that have been sidetracked from what their sport was or what their thing was. And I said, well, you can still be involved, learn to coach, teach. Like, there's ways to give back into any activity, even if you're not the one that's able to do it any longer in that way, at that same level, or even at all in some cases, right? Because of something like that, a medical issue or something. So definitely, commend her for reinventing herself and staying with it, and really, figuring out a new way to operate in that. And so that's pretty cool.
That kind of bravery, and that it's infectious. Yeah, you took something that was horrible and turned it to an amazing asset, and brought people along with you on that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So and it's inspirational to say, like, I've got both my legs. Let's go. I can go.
She still beat the crap out of us going up hills and all that. She was amazing. Like, she still is an amazing cyclist.
And probably one of the best side collateral benefits of this is this group likes to have a couple beers. So
Yeah.
you still got to do
Oh my
that too.
gosh,
So you have to have some
absolutely.
social time and some other things.
Big fat burger. Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
It's always about the food.
It's all good. So I think the point is to the listeners is that these things come around in circles, and they're not really going to deny you of anything. They're only going to be additive. They're going to elevate you. They're going to inspire you. They're going to inspire others for you being involved. You don't even know by you showing up and feeling that imposter syndrome, how much you help somebody else standing right next to you,
Absolutely.
right behind you, that you didn't even realize. They're like, well, she's here. I'm going to stay.
I don't know if you remember, but it is funny that how you said what she brought together. There was a podcast several years back that our company was mentioned on there.
Yeah.
And it was, they're building a group of strong misfits. I don't know if you remember that. It was years back. And, and I love that, back then I wasn't sure how I take that. Now I look at it like, you know what? All shape, all size, all paces, all walk of life.
Yeah.
Don't matter. I love the fact that power lifter has put the weights down and is chasing this.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that
Soccer mom has come to something
my gosh,
and been
yeah.
doing some things.
correct.
Absolutely.
And they're all welcome
Yeah.
and they're all encouraged to just be your best. Whatever that best definition
Right.
is for you, be it.
Yeah.
Be it, be that, and I get to see so many of the athletes, cause I watch a lot of their training peaks and I see their comments and I see their workouts and, to be able to watch where they were at one point and where they are now. I mean, we just had one yesterday, Tommy.
Tomasisis.
Yeah, that when the men's group, I think he's referred to as his name is never Tommy. It's either Tawmee.
Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah, right. And,
Nice
and
Pittsburgh accent
Somebody
on it.
called him tomato sauce yesterday.
That's right.
But my man, I mean, what I love about that guy, it's the little things. Is like I don't care if he runs a 10-minute mile. I don't. I care that he called me one time on Friday and said, I went to the expo and I got to buy my first race belt ever because I can fit in it now. He's lost
that.
a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And he had bronchitis, and him and his coach, which is Shep, Run Faster at Shep, Shep had him on a plan because of his breathing, and he was worried about a PR. He went 14 minutes faster than his previous
Wow.
Half marathon.
half marathon.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah. And he's living and I love it. Like he called me on Friday and he's like, Coach, I think about you in the arena when you had the boil break or whatever that bike, what's the
Saddle
Source.
the saddle sore broke. Yeah. And
yeah.
Caused him in Arizona.
Arizona.
Right. And he goes, I just want to be an example that if things hit the fan, that I have a mission and I'm going to keep focused and move forward. And he did 14 minutes faster.
Oh, he's all over it because he doesn't really. Everybody misses something, but he has been rock solid for years.
Oh, yeah.
In his space, in his distance, in his goals of just being a better man, being a better person, being a better father, being there for his family, but
awesome.
also improving himself in this way. And with Shep's help and our help and definitely yours, Kenny, is from an emotional perspective.
Oh, I bust his ass all the time. Like,
Yeah, but you also lift him up, right?
I do.
So
but
yeah.
I bust his ass because my man, like, with love showing up at races with 4 XX. I'm like, Tommy,
Yeah.
you're like XL now. Stop with the double. But
Love that.
I'm I'm this or I'm trying to be that. And my man is living life, dude. And he said to me the other day, he goes, Coach, I'm getting close to that 12-minute mile mark. And when I do, I'm running Pittsburgh Marathon. To
Yeah.
be with the
Yeah.
Victory boys.
There you go.
I love
So
it.
That's awesome.
He's got a goal in his mind. And I love that guy.
From Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's up in Michigan right now. So
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you said was misfits, a group of misfits, because that's kind of what I referred to that team as. Is we were all kinds, all different industries, kids, no kids, mom, like we were weird. We were a weird group of people, but we all kind of had the same goal, and it brings everyone together.
It's a rallying point, isn't it?
And it's funny because it felt like all those folks were so different, but now I've come here and joined this team, and there's literally the version, of that team, that gutsy team on this team. So it's kind of the same. Like misfit is like what you have to be to be in the sport, because it's not a common person that's going to want to do some of this.
I think that's probably the most common thing is that everybody's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And in your case, soup to nuts.
Yeah.
We're all nuts.
Got a little
right?
screw loose.
Everybody's nuts to
Yeah.
be able to
I'm gonna
do
speak for
this.
yourself,
and stay-
Sarge.
Yeah, Mr. Chief Nut over there, right?
I definitely have my own pulse I go
That's
to.
right.
There's more than one screw
For sure.
maybe.
Multiple.
Yeah, and it's quite all right.
Ange keeps
Bring them all.
I feel bad. She's like one of my people I want to swim with me on my long days because her pacing, and I feel so bad afterwards. I'm like, she keeps coming back. I'm in a Speedo.
I have a great time.
I can't wear my long anymore because they're starting to go
Jammers.
behind my knees, and anything that everything
Yeah,
bothers me on
does.
those long ones.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, as far as being misfit, I feel for Ange and I feel for those out there that are a bit introverted. That's definitely Sarge. I'm not necessarily the most gregarious in that realm, except when I'm around Kenny. And now when I'm around both of you, it's going to be even worse. So
it's going to bring out the best in you.
Yeah, it is. It helps me a lot. So, and I've grown and I've learned and I've experienced some things that I probably never would have, even though I've done endurance things before, but it's always been in a different structure, right? Versus what we do today. So it's excellent.
And
stuff.
I think it's our job as coaches to really understand what that athlete is and what they need and what will get them ready to run through a wall.
Sure.
And it's kind of been cool. I've been spending a lot of time with Dr. Mark and, watching him swim and how good he's getting, but it's becoming a friendship. And the friendship is telling me about how he loves Civil War. He's going on a Civil War trip and, he's down, like sending me pictures now down in Florida. But what he doesn't understand is he's working harder than he did ever before, but he's doing it and he's enjoying it because Alice and I are all over his plan, and he's going to become an Ironman in Chattanooga this year.
Amazing.
Absolutely. It's awesome. So from this experience now, you've gone through the group training in California. So what did that culminate with? A sprint, Olympic?
Yeah, it actually, it was all geared toward doing, it's a race in California called Wildflower, which is, they call it the...
Is that a running race too?
I don't know if they have running in it, but they have a sprint, a half, and an Olympic, and they call it the Woodstock of triathlons. So literally everybody camps out. It's on a lake. It's right outside of San Luis Obispo. So there's a college town right there. So all of the volunteers are college kids, not necessarily athletes. So it's just a wild time. And so if you imagine, I'm going through this training, I'm starting to meet this group of people. Still, I'm slow, so I'm not with the main pack. But now we've got to travel 5 hours to a location to do this race. And, everyone carpools. So it's like, well, who am I going to stay with? I don't have a tent. Who am I going to,
who just drafted me?
Who am I going to, so you're in a car with people you kind of like don't really know and going to the middle of essentially nowhere.
You're going to the commune out in the middle of nowhere.
And so, that's how that's kind of where this group of misfits came together, was the first racing experience, because we were camping together. We cheered for everyone during the weekend. People had brought their spouses. So you got the family. I stepped up as the cook. So I was like making breakfast for everyone. Like that's how we kind of really got to know each other. And then from there, it seems like everything just kind of like escalated. Yeah. It really escalated very fast.
Yeah. So how did that go the next several years from that?
So started, and
that race, did you fall in love? Did you know?
I did. I really did. It was so much fun. And
that was it. That was your thing.
I did an Olympic. I had a hybrid bike, like a crappy little GT bike that I did it on. And the minute I finished that race, I think I went to a pro bike or whatever it was called, performance bike store, and got myself a road bike so I could really start feeling like I could do this sport.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was like a couple of years of, doing Olympics and sprints. And then it was like, you know what? I think I can do in half, and then train for a half. And then, I think a couple of years had gone by, and it was like my friend Phil, which Phil's a big part of my story. He was training for Ironman Barcelona and, was doing it by himself. He had already done an Ironman at that point. A couple of people on our team had already done an Ironman on that point. And I'm the kind of person like, well, if you can do it, then I can do it. It doesn't take much to get me to
jump in,
peer pressure. Jump into it.
We see that clearly now. That'll be coming later.
Yeah. The easiest way to get me to do something is just be like, you want to do it? And usually I'll say yes, but after some thought. But he was training for Ironman Barcelona, and I was like, Phil, I think I could probably do this. And he was like, yeah, well, I'm training. We're going to go. We're flying out. We're bringing our bikes. And I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, and I might only do it one time, an Ironman, I might as well do it in a really cool place.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Signed up for Ironman Barcelona. This was for 2016. So a couple years into the process. And from there, it escalated further. We just kept going. So that was an amazing experience, though. That was probably the most amazing Ironman I'd ever done.
Was that wild? So now you've moved across the country. You've signed up for a training program that you didn't know anything about. And your very first Ironman isn't in California. It's in
Spain.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
And so you have travel going on. You got to pack a bike.
Yep.
You got to you're in a foreign country.
Yeah.
So you're choosing
it's definitely not the path of least resistance. That's for sure.
No, and I kind of like it. I mean, you're just if it's there and it's on your heart.
Yeah.
I'm going.
if I get a bug in my brain, it's game over. We're going to figure
I mean, we're seeing that play out.
It's not if, it's when. Yeah.
In our own team right now with a few younger people that haven't had that chance, but they're getting that chance. I think Caroline going later this year to Spain, to Marabella.
Amazing.
To compete in the 70.3 World Championship.
She's going to crush it.
She's going to crush. And she qualified in her first 70.3. Now, collegiate athlete, collegiate runner, has some really great skills bringing that to the party, although just now starting to put it together.
Yes.
But getting that chance to go to Spain, in this case, very common theme here, but others going to Lahti, Finland 2 years ago. Last year, a crew going to New Zealand in this world. And, just competing and having fun and getting to these great venues, I think is another, upside to just some of those things that are happening.
Yeah.
But her story is very similar. She just graduated from college, got her first job. Now she's getting into the sport. She's loving every second of it, and she's doing very, very well.
Yeah. And then the opportunity to travel is just icing on the cake.
100%.
Right there.
So that first Ironman, was it a memorable day for you? Like, did everything go off as planned?
Yeah.
Up to that
point, it was probably the best day of my life. Like, it was just, I still get goosebumps when I think about it. The morning of the race, and the race is just outside of Barcelona. It's in a beach town. Your swim is in the Mediterranean. Your bike ride is up and down a freeway that's literally on the Mediterranean.
On the coast,
so you're seeing the coast the entire time. The run is through this little town that you're in. It was a beautiful day, but that morning, sitting on or standing on the coast, on the beach, getting ready for the swim, the announcer comes on. It wasn't Mike Riley. It was the British guy. He comes on. We're in Spain, so there's kind of like a little bit of like a gladiator theme because the Spaniard. And they put that song on Elysium. It's like that theme of Gladiator, like, ooh, that comes on.
Get the tuba out and let's play it.
Get the tuba.
He gets on the microphone. He's like, welcome to the Ironman Barcelona. UK, are you here? And he goes through all the countries. Ireland, Australia, España. And he goes, USA, are you here? And I think I got a frog in my throat and I started crying. Like, I was like, yeah! Like, I could not. And that was just the kickoff. I mean, that was it. Once that happened, I got a good cry out. I was amped. I was ready to go. And I had so much fun on that race. I got on that bike, got out of the swim, did a great job, got on that bike, and just watched all the people that were in front of me. You had to wear your bib backwards, and on your bib, you had your flag. So you could see everyone in front of you. You could see where they came from. And it was so amazing, like having that being on a world stage. I'll say world stage. Every Ironman's a world stage, but being, in Europe, it seems like a little more worldly. Yeah. But seeing all of
going to an international race for anybody, even someone coming to the United States from Europe, it makes an impression.
It was amazing. And then, of course, the finish line is just electric because everybody has a flag on the finish line.
Right.
You've got like Wales and Argentina and Greece, and so that was really cool. It was.
Did you take one with you?
I didn't take one with me. What I wanted to take was like, at the time, either a California flag or like a Steeler flag. And I think I just forgot to pack one. And, but my head was so far from that anyways, trying to figure out a bike and shoes and a kit and water bottles. And that was
flying
the last
the bike,
thing to think of. But
getting the bike put together, packed up, unpacked, and for sure.
My training buddy, Phil, towards the last couple of weeks of our training, we were on a bike ride, and I'll never forget. He was like, so I have some news to tell you. And I was like, oh no. And he was like, I was just at the doctor and I found out there's something irregular with my heart. And my doctor is just he doesn't think it's a good idea for me to do this race. And I was like, oh my gosh, Phil, you're supposed to do this with me. He's like, don't worry, we're still going. Like, we're going to be there. And he, for his wife, had gotten the kind of the VIP, so you can put your medal on your loved one at the finish line. He's like, I will be there at that finish line and I will give you your medal. And to me, that was like all I needed to I'm crossing the finish line. Like, I have to finish this because Phil is going to be there and I'm doing this for him. And and it was just, the day was perfect. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
My sister flew out. She was there. Like, it was so cool.
And again, I think it's another testament, again, we've already talked about, we moved across the strait in this country. Now you sign up for something you're not sure if you do your first race international, you're training with somebody, and now it gets taken from you. He can't be there on the course with you.
Yeah.
And it just is, you just keep going into that uncharted water.
Yeah. And
you're accepting that and saying, okay, so if it's not this, it'll be that.
Yep.
And so I'm going to be still really good about that.
Yeah.
Instead of being down in the dumps, like, oh man, I'm going to be out there by myself. he's there waiting for you with open arms.
That's a testament to being resilient, right?
Yeah.
And I think the sport requires a level of being resilient. It absolutely requires. Ironman is going to push back. The first Olympic you do is going to push back. The very first sprint, there's going to be something different, not perfect, and you're going to have to figure it out. In your case, it was a little bit ahead of the race. There's going to be times in the race. There's going to be times before the swim goes off that something's not right.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's what is an element of the training that you have to get through. So if you're training and it's not quite right, you still have to go. If you're out on training and it's going terrible, you have to figure it out and get through it. If your bike breaks down while on training, use that as a learning opportunity, figure out how to fix it. And if you don't know, reach out. We'll teach you. Somebody will teach you how to do it, and you'll figure it out. So I think it's really important that you have that. Certainly it's not easy, but you were able to work through it. Phil obviously helped you because he wasn't abandoning you. Not that he was trying to abandon you, but he was still going, and now he's putting himself at the finish line for you to give you that incentive to show up, right? And so you're now training probably twice as hard.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Because it's all on you. There's nobody else that in your little group is going to be watching anybody but you during that race.
It's true. But you kind of find more reasons than just me to finish it. Now that I had him going to be at the finish line, his wife was there, his mother-in-law was there, my brother or my sister had flown out to be there. They sacrificed a lot. It sucks to go to Barcelona for a trip.
Right.
But, sacrificed a lot. That's a long day.
Time,
it is a long day. And
some
actually,
money, for
they
sure.
call the announcer at the race was calling all the spectators spectathletes, because really you are running. You are going from place to place to go see people. You're hauling bikes around. You're picking up bags. They really are spectathletes. Like they do a lot of work to be just to watch people go to a race.
Official support crew. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They deserve the t-shirt just as well.
Yeah,
and it's that insane moment of their eruption when they see you and what it means to you. And you're on a high, but you're in the race, so you're like just focused.
Yeah.
They erupt, and then they're like, I have to wait another
2 hours.
2 hours. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that. Oh man, and that's what makes it nice when we go to coach Ironman. It's hard sometimes when it's one athlete. You're focused on that one athlete, but then you're just sitting waiting.
Yeah.
Like Ironman Maryland was great because we were seeing athletes. It seemed like
Constantly.
That's awesome.
every 5 to 10 minutes because we had 7 or 8, and the run course was I think 4 loops of 6. And we just boom, boom, boom. Every time you turn around, there was one. So spectathletes or spectating is definitely difficult, but makes it nice when you can see people coming.
Absolutely. So now you're an Ironman, but that's not it.
No.
There's more.
Things keep
More.
escalating.
There's more.
It's just a snowball.
More.
Yeah.
So
So
2016, you become Ironman.
26 years
old. Did you get the tattoo?
I did not.
Oh, not yet.
I've never gotten a tattoo. I had it. I even had like a beautiful one kind of mapped out. I have this fear, and this might even play into more of my story, is I have this fear that someday I'm going to fall out of this sport and I'm going to be like, out of shape and not have done anything in years. And I'm going to have this tattoo on me. And I'm like, oh, I don't deserve this.
It's imposter syndrome still. You're carrying that with you. You're carrying imposter syndrome with you. So,
yeah.
All right. So you're moving on though, because now after doing Ironman, that's pretty big.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's something that we train a lot of people for, something that we've accomplished. And it's a very small club. If only 1% of the population has ever run a marathon, imagine how few people have ever finished an Ironman in the universe. So it's very exclusive. So where you go from 2016? Yeah.
So from 2016 at the time, finished that, you're kind of on top of the world. I had a friend that was training for a 50-mile trail run. And before the Ironman, I was like, that is stupid. Why would you ever want to do that? That is insane. And after I finished that race, I was like, are you looking for anyone to train with you for this? So then very quickly transitioned from that into more trail ultra running. Yep. Did a couple more Ironman races, and then it just, like I said, it just keeps snowballing, keeps escalating. But a lot of this time, I like to read about athletes. I like to, I started reading Finding Ultra from Rick Roll. Finding Ultra, his big inspiration is David Goggins. So, I go down this rabbit hole. Now Rick Roll, David Goggins, what's kind of the string that's bringing them together is this Ultraman. And so went online, kind of did a little digging. Again, another bug in my brain, this Ultraman thing. And it finally got to the point where I was like, I'm going to do this. We're going to do it. We've got to do it. I can do 50. I know I can run 50 miles. I can do an Ironman. That was kind of the qualifications, was just being able to do an Ironman within the calendar year. Then you can qualify to do Ultraman. And I just decided one day, the first thing you have to do is decide. And I made that decision, and again, put it out to the universe, and then, signed up, and then the universe called back.
That's right.
It definitely called back. So, didn't even know where to start with coaching. The coaches that I had prior didn't have any idea about this realm, didn't really know. But one of my coaches, his name was Courtney. I was like, hey, I know this guy. His name's Jeff. We call him Land Shark. Let me reach out to him and let me just see. I know he's done like one of these Ultramans, whatever. So reached out to Jeff. Hey, Jeff, I'm interested in this, and blah, blah, blah. I later come to find out Jeff Landauer is his name. He was the guy. Have you guys read Can't Hurt Me, the David Goggins story? David Goggins lost at his world championship Ultraman.
To Jeff.
He lost to Jeff Landauer, Land Shark. Had no idea. Had already read that book like 2 times. But the universe, like, it calls back to you, got connected with Jeff, the nicest guy in the world. He's now in the world of ultra cycling, just super, super wonderful person. And he was like, hey, you really want to do this? Like, where is it? I'm like, I think I'm going to do Florida. And he was like, oh, I didn't even know they had one in Florida. And he was like, yeah, I'll take you on. I'll coach you. I was like, okay. And there we go. 6 months of training for an Ultraman just to get to the start line. But it was amazing. It was
4 years of staying in the endurance sports.
I think it was about 7 years. 7 years from the time that I started on an Olympic to getting up to Ultra. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So I think would be need to know what an Ultraman is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So an Ultraman is a 321.2 mile race. It's a series of 3 different stages. So day 1 is a 10K swim, so 6.2 mile swim, followed by about a 90 mile bike ride. So you get out of, 3 or 4 hours of swimming, get on a bike, you're on for another couple hours for the bike ride. The next day you come back.
Couple hours for 90 miles.
Couple hours.
Couple of 3.
It feels short relative to everything else.
Couple of 3. Right.
So that was day 1. Day 2, you get back on the bike. You do 171 miles on the bike. Day 3 is a double marathon. And this is a race that there are no aid stations. There are no road closures. There are some signs to tell you where you're going, but you're kind of on your own, and you are responsible for bringing your crew with you. So they only accept about 50 people into the field.
So supported, but with your own crew.
It's supported. It's self-supported.
Like a Ragnar,
exactly.
self-supported, yeah.
And I will say, it's self-supported, but the staff that puts these things on are not doing nothing. Like, they are the most amazing people. They will put like an announcement station at the top of a hill in the middle of a neighborhood, and there will be someone there announcing like there's a huge audience, just to make you kind of feel like, you are doing something amazing, but just to feel a little more special. But they're trying to guide you around the course. They're making sure people are safe. They're in constant communication. All of the vans, so 50 people, which means 50 vans, are trying to communicate with each other to figure out where everyone is. Your van is, stopping on the side of the road to give you food, to give you fuel. If you have a bike malfunction, they are your crew. They've got to fix your bike for you. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of work, and just the training is only such a small piece of being able to accomplish something like this.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got logistics, man.
Logistics, the crew, the right skill set on the crew for the right day, for all of that.
Huge.
Definitely, not only athlete support, crew support. They're out there many, many hours as well. They have to be fed and watered as well along the way. So 100%,
Is that a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type
Friday,
deal?
Saturday, Sunday. Yep. You finish Sunday night. Yeah. And then Monday they'll have like a banquet. They do a beer mile on Monday, but
I might miss out on that one.
I skipped it. But
have all the beer, but not the mile.
I think Angie's in the running for number 1 in the beer mile.
She did do the beer mile with the team camp last year.
Team camp. All right. So, amazing experience, hard as hell, and ask yourself a million times, why am I doing this kind of thing?
The training itself was very transformative. It challenges your relationships. It challenges your self-perception. It challenges, your career and just about everything. And I will tell you, coming out of the training, not even just the race, coming out of the training, you can guarantee you're like a completely different person than you were when you started. Like, you're giving up. There's a lot of sacrifice. I mean, there were days that was like, okay, you're going to do a 50-mile bike ride on a Tuesday. And you're thinking like, I usually do this on like a weekend. And so figuring out your schedule. And at the time, this is 2020. So this is before This was the race is February 2020. So everyone was still at work every day. I was still going into the office.
Leading up to it, 2019, everybody's at the office for sure.
I was still in the office, going to the office 5 days a week. So figuring out, when do I fit a swim in? When am I going to run? How do I go from a run to a bike and do a brick workout? How do I, how am I going to fuel for this? And in life got very simple, I will say. And I think that's probably an unexpected answer, but you knew when you have a goal like this in mind and it scares you a little bit, you know exactly what you have to do just to make it to that start line. And you can't waver too much from it. Like if you've got a 50-mile ride, you've got to do a 50-mile ride, because at the end of the day, you have to do 171
That's
miles on day 2 of this race. So, I loved it. I really liked it. Things got really, really simple. If people were like, "Hey, Angie, you want to go out for drinks tonight?"
Nope.
Or like, you weren't able to like have noise around you. It was, this is what I'm focused on. This is my goal. The people who are supporting you on it are there for you. The people that don't really understand it, you kind of stop hearing from them. And it
sometimes you got to cut a man loose.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really, it simplifies life. And it really, you learn a lot about yourself going through something like that. And my coach, he was there along the way. I never actually got to train or do anything with him, but he put some things like an Ironman. An actual Ironman was a training day for me. So that's when I did Ironman Arizona. 2 weeks later, he had scheduled a double century ride. So traveled down to Southern California where there was a scheduled double century. I didn't know anything about ultra cycling at the time. I showed up like I was going to do an Ironman, like maybe some arm sleeves, maybe like a vest on, a fanny pack with like some gels and stuff in it. Meanwhile, you go down and everyone's ready to ride and they've got frame bags packed with food. They've got layers and layers.
Yeah, they got rain gear, everything, right?
I just remember a guy looking at me when I came down. I had this like cute little flowery kit on, and he looks at me and he goes, 50 degrees, cover your knees. It was like 50 degrees outside, and I had like a little bike kit on and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't think I'm in Kansas anymore. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think he was a little skeptic, but that to me, it rained all day. You're going up through the hills of,
it's got to be miserable.
Yeah, Southern California. But that we did it. Got it done. Took 14 hours, and after that, I was like, I want to be an Ultraman. We're going to do this. Like, you just have to trust your training. But I digress.
You were in for the whole thing.
Yeah.
You were compartmentalizing your life as necessary to get everything done.
Yeah.
Keep your job.
Yes.
Right, but tough sometimes even to do that, depending on how understanding your employer is. But you did it.
Yeah.
So you compartmentalize the training, the job, what little social time you probably had left over in those days to, spend that. But that's all because of that. I would equate that to my first Ironman, and that's that fear of the unknown and the fear of failure that you felt like, well, I'm going to just do everything I can to stay on this plan.
Yeah.
So I make sure I'm to that, not only to the start line, but I'm to the finish line.
Yeah. Fear can be a really powerful tool in this sport. And I think in life in general, in training, I mean, it motivates you to do things that you never thought you could do that were possible. So
it is really hard with challenging relationships, right? So, every Friday night, 11 o'clock, 11:20 at night, I get a FaceTime from 2 of my buddies. I love them. I love both of them. I'm never going to answer that. 11:30, they're having some drinks. They're like, hey, we're tarps off. Let's FaceTime. Like, I'm never going to go I'll go tarps off with you. Any 9
other
o'clock,
time. Yeah.
9:30. But like, I think it's that part of the decision. Yes, I'd love to talk to you guys, but the piper needs paid, and it needs paid tomorrow at 4 a.m. when I wake up, when you guys may wake up at 8:30 or 9. I'm already going to have 7,000, 8,000 yards of swimming already done. Yeah. I have to, and it's part of that fear that I think the endurance athlete has is, if I don't do this, what will that be? Yeah. And it's hard. I mean, it's really hard. I feel really bad sometimes when I have a hard day and we're going out to dinner or somewhere and I'm so like just not interested, or I'm tired. I'm yawning. Like last night we had dinner with some friends and Say was like, I got to take Sleepy Boy home. Like I'm just tired. And I'm not trying to, it's just, I know what is at stake. Yeah. And I know that if I don't put it in now, South Carolina, 12 and a half miles is going to eat me alive, and it won't care. Yeah.
It's not going to care. It doesn't care.
No, it takes no prisoners.
That's right. The sports do not care. They don't have a soul from that perspective. Yeah. They're there to put that challenge out to everybody, and they're there to, really test people.
And there's that balance too of like, Ange, well, used to have drinks with us. Oh, she like too good for us now. And there's that too. Oh, she got a 200-mile bike ride. And it's not, I don't think they're trying to be mean. They just don't understand.
Yeah, you just, you don't
because they're not in it.
Yeah.
They're not in it with you.
Yeah.
And it's not the way it used to be. A lot of people are stuck on the way things used to be, the way things, whether that was before you did this or the way they have always been. So it's quite okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have come around. I know in our lives, Kenny, people we know, some people do get it. Some of your really close work associates, they now understand after seeing you do it. They still don't want to do it themselves, but they do.
Respect it.
They respect it. They're proud of you. They see the output from the input that you put in all those years. It can grow on people, and we capture athletes that way. We get people leaning in. Hey, maybe I'd like to try, and we get people that way. Yeah. So, Angie, for those of you on the YouTube watching this, we have some props here. So, this is Angie's medal from that Ultraman. This very fancy lay out here on the table. It does kind of look like a caterpillar, but
it's special.
It's very special.
I don't have anything like it.
You can explain the timing tape here.
Yeah, so
right?
this is your ticker tape. So, obviously every racer has a little piece of
it's like a magnet, right? It's a magnet strip that has all the different events throughout the 3 days.
Yeah.
And the magnet strips move up and down the board
it's
as
your leaderboard. Yeah,
as the
and so
leaderboard
each day
changes.
they put, this is my swim leg 317, and then that 90-mile bike ride.
Fourth female out of the water.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a crazy field too.
Fourth female out of the water, and this was
the total day for day one. So
okay, total day.
It was a short day,
sixth
9
place
hours.
female.
Yeah.
For day one.
Day two was that 170-mile bike ride, so that was 10 and a half hours.
All right, so one cyclist got you because now you're seventh female. Yeah. Right after day two.
What? It's okay.
That's quite okay.
and
you held on for the run because you ended up being the seventh female, right?
And the tough thing is you
10 female.
You only have 12 hours each day. Mm-hmm. So if you miss that cutoff, you're out. You're DNF.
Right.
You can continue on, but you don't.
Yeah, you're off. Yeah. You're off the score.
You don't get the medal. You don't get the finishers, whatever.
Rope.
Yeah.
Fuzzy rope.
Yeah, but you know what? The training. You trust your training. You do everything you want, but it's really the crew. The crew.
I'll bet you had the time of your life though with the crew every night.
No, I actually, every night you go home and you're so tired that you eat and you go to bed, shower, or take a Epsom salt bath or something just to re-energize. The crew goes into work. I mean, it might be like 10 o'clock you get home.
And they're setting up
and
your
the
food
crew's
and
like,
stuff.
I got to go get gas in the car. I've got to go grocery shopping. We have to make peanut butter jelly sandwiches. We have to take the bike stuff up and put the run stuff in. Mm-hmm. We've got, they've got to plan out the route for tomorrow. They've got, my crew was amazing. So Phil was one of those ones on the crew. Jerry was a guy who's an amazing athlete, Boston runner, trained with him. He was the storyteller. So if you could have someone come in and run with you on the double marathon day, on the run day. He jumped in, he was able to run. He can talk your ear off. That's exactly what you wanted.
Distraction.
Yeah. Susan, she's like very, very methodical. She's like the warm hug, the mother, takes care of you, make sure all your needs are met. And then I had Christine, who was my crew captain, who's tough love. Like, she's like, I don't care if you're not hungry, eat it.
That's
or
right.
like, keep going. I don't care. You need that.
That's right.
You need that. And the crew needs it. So you have to put together a really, really particular group of people that can deal with your emotions high and low. Because there are high highs in something like this where you're just feeling on top of the world. And there are moments where you are just like the spawn of Satan. Like you're tired, you're angry, you're hungry.
Blood sugar's all off.
Yeah.
You're a mess.
Your emotions are all over the place. And
you got
they have
hormones
to not
flying
take it
around.
personally.
You got chemicals in your blood.
Oh my gosh.
Everything.
My poor friend Jerry. He was
no Porta-John in sight. You need one.
Yes.
Come on.
They're seeing you drop trowel on the side of the road. But poor Jerry, he was running with me. It was like the last couple miles of the run. And he jumps out of the van, comes in to run with me. And he has something like clicking in his pocket. He had change in his pocket. And I took that personally. I heard this clinking. I was like, at that point, I was so laser focused on the sound that I heard in his pocket. I could probably guess it was like 37 cents at that point. I was like, Jerry, what is in your pocket? He's like, nothing. There's nothing in my pocket. I'm like, no, right there. I can feel it. I can hear it. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so middle of the road. He throws his change out of his pocket. Like, get back in the van. You're out. You're done. We're done. Bring in Susan. We're out.
Next.
Yeah. And honestly, it was kind of like
Jerry
that.
got voted off the island.
Well, then Susan comes out and she's like, so we talked to another crew and they were telling us about this guy who was in this air accident and paragliding and he died. I'm like, Susan, you're out. Christine, back in. Like, you know, you kind of
you're not uplifting enough. Get out of here.
It's such a dance, and your crew just has to deal with you. Like, you're hallucinating. You don't want to eat anything, but you also want to eat everything. But the most amazing part is they are doing this race with you. And so the finish line, you park your van, you meet up with your whole crew.
The 18 van.
Everybody finishes together.
Right,
all
right,
finish
right.
together, hands together. It was magical. It was very, very cool. It was a really cool experience. And not only that, it's like you become very close, not just to the people in your own van, but everybody out on the course.
Sure.
All the different crews, all the different athletes. You're in it together. There's only 50 people. The whole staff. It's an amazing experience. It's
great.
so cool.
Well, the crew is like, so the swims I do, like I went Ron to my right, Sarge to the left, and all around.
Yep.
You know, and like if you look at my map of Key West, I don't think I went one extra yard more than I needed to.
Yeah.
It was studied. He knew the course. He knew the tidal push. Like he knew to what, like, I think we unseated like 7 or 8 different people that we just passed swimming.
Oh, more than that. 12,
Wow.
at least
Just like
12.
Just
logistic.
Yeah.
Just by getting
them off.
Yeah.
They're swimming wide through boats. We went right through it. You know, he's telling me, watch, there's an anchor, you know, like, or chains for a mooring, you know, but I mean, that's the key. I mean, it's the comfortable side of the fact that I might be the one that's swimming it, but they're just as important because
I'm stopping him to eat. He's like, I don't want to eat. You're going to eat, damn it.
There's more pressure on the crew than there is for the athlete, I think.
Well, then that was it. What I knew I was cooking. I was at mile 4 and I think at like almost.
But you got through that tidal push where it started to slow down again. Then he's like, okay, now I can eat. Mm-hmm. It was only like 10 more minutes.
But the first one was funny though, because I'm moving and I can see as I'm stroking to this side, I look down and I'm like, oh snap. I see him going like this, Ron, and I looked at my time and I'm like under 2 hours. And I'm already at 4 miles. Like, right. I think it was like 1:38 or something. And I'm moving and he's like, let's eat. And I go, no, I don't want to eat. And I literally went another 10 yards and I'm like, all right, now I'll eat. And he wasn't ready. So he had to like put his order, grab food, throw it into me. And like, it was just that weird tug of war. Like, no, don't tell me when I'm going to eat. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, I'm ready to eat.
Not even 10, like 10 yards, like 3 more strokes.
It was like 3 more strokes. Then because he put it in my, like, you need to eat.
Yeah.
Because my first time at Pittsburgh, it was eat every 30 minutes. Well, that went too long, way too long, or way too much.
Stopping it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I'm training like some of our swims, like I might go an hour and a half without anything and get my first one right around 2 hours and then try to go another hour or 2. And then that last maybe hour
then
or so,
start breaking it up.
Break it up a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But the team, to your point, you do go through it together. It's as important because they are making a sacrifice. They're going down to Key West. They're sitting in a kayak for 5 or 6 hours.
Yep.
They're getting sunburn. You know, they're dealing with the weather that I don't even know is happening because I'm cold water. You know, I'm getting hit with rain, but I don't feel it. I feel it's my hands. Yeah. You know, and we're
getting blasted
with the wind. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole craziness.
There's no glory. There's not as much glory in being the crew. I think you work so hard, but
it's all togetherness.
It's so important.
Right?
And
it's teamwork.
This would have never happened without those 4 people that lived in a van for 3 days.
100%.
So.
Well, it's funny because Clean on the men's side finished Ironman Maryland, and right off the bat, he's like, hey, I need to take some time. He's getting married. And then he starts maybe about a month and a half back. Like, I think I want to come back and I want to look at an Ultraman. And I immediately looped Angie in. I'm like, oh, you want to look at it? Here's somebody that went through it. And with unequivocally, it was do it, sign up for it.
Sure.
Do it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he did. I have not heard, you know, if the universe has called back yet. But yeah, I mean, you have other athletes now that are seeing the Tandys do 300 miles and be the 5th overall female.
That's right.
You know, then they're seeing people do the Ironman that is almost unthinkable at one point, and now they're doing it.
Yeah.
Now they're seeing Ange lift that bar from, oh man, I just moved to another state. I got to get active. So I'm going to sign up for this triathlon group to 6 or 7 years later, punch in the ticket, or 5 years later, punch in the ticket to Ultraman. I mean, it's just insane.
And we even have people that are coming from, you know, powerlifting and wanting to even just get their first sprint or Olympic under their belt and, you know, getting into multisport. We've got people out there, Tommy, knocking 14 minutes off his half marathon time, right? So everybody's got their war that they're fighting, their battle that they're going in for, their arena that they've chosen to step into.
That Corey, ran from LA to Vegas or Vegas to LA.
Yeah. On an unsupported or a self-supported Ragnar style speed project. It was a relay.
Wow.
He still had to do 33-ish miles of it, but it was 350 miles. And they relayed and they leapfrogged and, did all that with vans, logistics, self-supported.
He just went off on a 14 minute PR on his marathon.
He did too.
Yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he came back off of that 2 or 3 weeks later and PR'd a marathon by 14 minutes.
That's incredible.
So he's killing it.
Amazing.
But everybody's got their battle. Everybody's got their battle. Everybody's got their crew. Whether that crew is one you find from a community like Victory Multisport or, whatever group training you're in.
Your family.
Your fam, your sister flying into Barcelona, your buds from the sport. And they're just like, hey, I'll be there. I'll drive the van. I'll run with you. I'll do whatever. I'll carry your stuff. I'll never do this crazy thing, but and then you end up doing the crazy thing with the guy across the street, right? So, pretty cool. So amazing things.
And then Ange that was in California, so we didn't fly her in for this podcast. So she has since then moved back.
Yeah. Back
into the Pennsylvania area.
Yeah. I moved back in 2021, pandemic, it was time to be back with family. And, since then I've kind of fallen out of the sport. I call it retirement, done a couple of things, but, it's
not
really
small things either, guys.
Yeah.
So those listening, don't think she's saying hi to
No, but it's, you come off of something like that and you feel like, wow, like what's next? What's going to be next? And it's hard to find the next sometimes, especially you're in a new location. You don't have your crew with you. You don't have your team with you. The community itself doesn't understand maybe the sport as much as your old community did. And there's also, your life has shifted. So your identity changes a little bit, moving from one place to another place and going through that. So I'm rebuilding. We're trying to get back into the sport after a couple of years off of it.
100%. So you joined the Rise to Try group, really mostly not because you needed help with triathlon, but you needed the crew. You wanted to be around other people. You wanted to actually give back by helping out some newbies, and being part of something.
Yeah, and I think it's something like that when you kind of you lose a little bit of self-confidence. I've gained some weight. I couldn't run 5 miles. You go from running 52 miles to not being able to run 5.
It's humbling, isn't it?
It's very humbling, and you kind of need to go back to foundation. Start at the beginning where I started before and try to make it through that journey again. And it's almost a little bit more challenging the second time, because you know what you're in for, and but you also know what the payoff's going to be.
You know what you're in for. You have an expectation that you should be able to get back to where you were quicker than you really can.
Your body's different. You don't have that momentum behind you, but this Rise to Try group has been incredible. Alice has been amazing. Working with someone, Cam, who's just doing this for the first time, gives me a lot of, excitement, kind of feel that with him. Yeah. A little fear also.
You're taking the lead in there too. Like, organizing rides with Cam, helping people that are running 19, 20 miles. Like, hey, I'll do 10 or 11 with you. And it's been really awesome because, I think when you originally approached us, it was, hey, I'm looking for a community.
Yeah.
And then you came to race camp and literally you jumped in the pool and I'm seeing like 120s, flip turns, real powerful off the wall. And I'm like, holy smokes, this is like a Maserati in the water that like, I want to be able to drive with it and ride with it. And then all of a sudden, a couple months goes by and then Rise to Try. And I think everybody was like, wow, she's like really putting it out there. Again, going back to the theme, you put yourself out there like, I'm going across country, signing up for I don't know anybody. I'm going to sign up for that. I'm going to go to Ironman Barcelona and do a race that the guy I was training with isn't in it anymore. I'm going to do, Ultraman, finish a top 10 finish. And then I'm going to come back and I got to force myself. So I'm going to start at the beginner block and go Rise to Try again. Yeah.
And I will say, going to race camp last year, big imposter syndrome. I mean, I have this history and I try to leave it behind me because I have a growth mentality. I want to move forward, but you meet this group of people and everyone's training for something. I'm doing this Ironman, I'm doing this half, I'm training, for a marathon. And the question was, so what are you training for, Angie? And I'm like, I'm training to not be retired anymore. I just want to get back into it. And so I
think you had something on the schedule. Yeah. But I don't even think you still believe that is
wasn't ready
accomplished.
Yet. Yeah.
I mean, the crew that you were on, rowing crew that went to the St. Charles and competed in that like prestigious, like in that world, that's the place you want to go row, right? In Boston. So I don't think that was small either, but I don't think you wanted to even talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, it was very hard for me to even pull out a little quick story for the newsletter about you. So luckily your old high school put you in the Hall of Fame, so I could put a story on that, right? But my point is you're very humble.
Like, FBI to get stuff from
you're almost like too humble in that those goals that you come up with. And you have talked for almost an hour on the podcast, and you have never mentioned once that your background was in rowing.
Oh, yeah.
No, so that's another place that you dove in.
She did mention tuba, though, which is
tuba.
We spent 30 minutes talking about tuba.
But my point is you find yourself now, 10 or 15 years later from that college graduate, and you're walking into another arena, kind of unknown.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll do it. I can figure it out. And you went in there and you did great. So just another example.
Yeah.
So I don't want to digress from the rise to try, because I think
it's
that's
a testament for this, at least in the journey ahead of me, is a testament to this group and this team and this movement that you guys have created, and not just the greater Pittsburgh area, but I think nation, worldwide. Once you kind of get absorbed into it, it's like, oh, I remember what this used to feel like. How excited I used to be. And you surround yourself with all those misfits, that have these goals that the normal average human might never dream of. And to be a part of other people's journeys in this has been really, really rewarding. So I'm going to continue that this year.
Yeah. And not literally, I couldn't be more proud, because I've run your last 2 long runs with you, 10 miles, 11 miles, getting to know you more and sharing the excitement of your crew is building. You're in dance videos every other Sunday with unbelievable dance moves, and we'll leave it there. Lots of elbows, lots of pointing, sometimes some leg kicks, just throwing it out there.
Try not to pull a hamstring.
Not real high. Yeah, she'll blow an Achilles. Yeah. But sharing, we're down 15 to 20 pounds. Yep. We got a Pittsburgh marathon on our schedule.
Half marathon.
Mm-hmm. We also got two Ironmans coming, at least
half Ironman.
Yeah, half. One potentially is Ohio, because she wants to be with the crew.
Yeah,
that's right.
And one she's dragging Alice out of.
I think Alice is dragging me now. I think the tables have turned on this.
When she listen,
which one is this?
La Quinta.
La Quinta.
Okay.
But the thing with
Alice, put it on the board tonight.
Yes.
It's so there's 3 of you now in it. It's Christine Guthrie, it's you, and Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And see, Alice was just that feather floating in the wind right now, trying to figure out
after her Ironman from November, right?
And so Ange has been we send her googly eyes all the time. It starts with 1 googly eye, then 2, then 3, and then Alice is like, "What is going on?" Well, it's been great, because now Alice has her race, and she's been one of the lead dogs to get that going. So. And I think the cool thing was, 2024 wasn't a bad year for you. Like you said, it wasn't a bad year. I am just looking for community, and I'm looking for being back in something and standing for something and competing. And it doesn't have to be winning age groups.
Yeah.
It's competing you versus you.
Yeah.
And getting back into that arena is going to be unbelievable to watch.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I don't do this for medals. I don't do this. The training is more exciting to me than the race. The race is like your reward for putting in the time for the training. So, but I want to do it because I want to be with people that also do it.
That's right.
It's really fun. And, we could talk about silly things.
You guys can talk and do silly things together.
If you're not having fun,
now.
you're not doing it right.
Absolutely.
We hear everything on those long runs.
That's right. So, Angie, I really appreciate you coming on. As humble as you are, as we found out that you were this humble about all these different accomplishments that you've had, the willingness for you to jump into groups, the willingness for you to jump into a car and carpool 5 hours away and camp with unknown people, to go and do an Ultraman and have that accomplishment, be an ultra runner, ultra swimmer, Ironman multiple times, now finding your community again back here in Pittsburgh and getting involved with Victory Multisport and our team and the people that we have. We appreciate you so very much.
Oh, thank you.
And
I'm really happy to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Let's see what's next.
It's been amazing to hear your journey and your story over these years, and I can't wait to have you on in another couple of years and hear about all the other things that you're going to go after and you're going to accomplish with that attitude that you have of being the willing participant. No matter what it is, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll find the right people to get wrapped around you, and you'll make it happen. So outstanding. Congratulations on all of your things you're accomplishing, have accomplished, and will accomplish. And really, thanks for sharing today.
Yeah, of course. Happy to come on.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
It's awesome. So for all of you, please follow and share this episode on YouTube.
And if you're looking for a training buddy, just call me.
Just call Ange, right? Just
I'll be there. I'm always
jump
down.
into the Circle app and let her know you're willing, and she'll be in. So you've been listening to the Victory Multisport Podcast. We'll talk to everybody very soon.